So this is part 2 on my custom John Deere 425 project. So since the last video, if you haven't seen that already, I'll have that linked in the description of this video. I would definitely recommend go watching that before this video, just because some of the things might not make any sense. But anyway, I got an exhaust put on, something a little bit nicer than this engine had stock. Comes out in the original location where it should have been on this tractor from, the engine it should have. Of course, that just, turns the corner here, comes up, basically just a generator muffler. Got a support here and then just comes out over there. Pretty simple. Working on the 3-point hitch right now. I just got it tacked up and I figured, you know what, I'm going to turn on the camera and kind of show you what I've got going on here. So this is off a Simplicity Power Max garden tractor that's like from the mid-70s or so. Category 0, just like what this machine is supposed to have. However, I could not get these two pieces off that I really wanted to use, because it does have the swivel here, which would make it a lot nicer than what I've got going on here. So right now it's up as far as it goes, which I went and measured my other one that has a factory 3-point hitch, and I measured about 14 inches to the bottom and about 15.5 to the pin. So as you can see, we got about 16 inches to the pin, which is slightly more than what the stock one was. And then of course, if I start it here, it'll actually lower down quite a ways. So all the way down, that should be pretty good. Then all the way up. So I'm gonna get the rest of this welded up. I guess I should show you that, so basically I took the original, I think they call this a rock shaft, that's only like 3/4 inch diameter rod that runs across here. I went in my metal pile and I found this pipe that just happens to fit over that perfectly. And then this is like 1 1/8 of a hole. And it just about, there's a little bit of a gap there, but I'm just going to weld it solid on each side. And I don't really think I'm going to have an issue. I'm probably going to put some kind of a metal plate just along here to help brace this up a little bit, just because the factory 3-point hitch bracket is a lot thicker than this one. And then put a piece here to mount the center link and start working on the next thing. So I thought I'd give you an update on the 3-point hitch. It's just kind of still tack welded together, but of course both sides are on there. Just enough to, I can raise an attachment up in the air. And of course you turn this. Of course right now it won't turn because it's in the air, but you turn one side or the other and you can adjust on how crooked you want, the hitch arms. And both sides are adjustable, so that's kind of neat. This is a Sears grader blade, not a proper Cat 0 blade. It's meant for a Sears Suburban. And then of course, if I used a Cat 0 center link instead of the Sears one, I might be able to shorten this up a little bit, and then it would raise off the ground a little bit more. It does have down pressure right now. I can't figure out a way, at least on how it is right now, to not have down pressure so it floats. But we'll just have to see if it needs it. Otherwise, it's probably okay the way it is. And then the next thing after that would be probably the side panels, because I have to make those because this engine is a little bit wider than what the original one would be. And unfortunately, I shouldn't do that until I have at least the top part of the hood, because I don't know where the side of the hood actually stops. I guess it probably stops right here on the top of this. But I'm just going to wait until I have that, because I guess, with the flat part here, don't know where it's going to stop. I don't have another one of these tractors with a hood I could borrow. But I'll come back once as I get the hood or something like that. I can show you and we can put on it. Alright, so it's been probably 4 or 5 days since last time I had the camera on. So I got my hood. This is aftermarket hood from Coomer Bros, I think. So it's pretty nice. And then of course I got the front grille put on already. Had to kind of make it up as I go along and how this installs. So I guess that goes there and then it just bolts. 2 bolts on the bottom and that holds it in. It's just weird that this is all that holds it in. It just kind of sits there on the top, but I guess that's what it is. Got the rear lights put in. Then, because they didn't want to keep popping out, I kind of wrecked them and I went ahead and put 3 screws, self-tapping screws in on each light just to keep them from coming out. I guess that is better than having the light come out and then running it over. Because they just kind of snap in place, so it doesn't take much for them to just kind of come out. But got that. And of course, oil cooler, which this was like 20 bucks. So this, I'm going to just put right here, run the 2 lines right there to this one, and then unhook this oil cooler that I have on here and then get rid of that. I have a 12-volt fan over there that I'm going to just pretend that's on there. I'm going to put the 12-volt fan right here with another switch up on the dash. So, you know, if you have it running for a while, you can flip the switch. Turns on the fan. Doesn't have to be on all the time, because it does use like 30-some watts of power, so, or 30-some amps, rather. Did get my volt gauge, so that works now, so that comes on with the key. My other hour meter broke, so I had to put this one on the battery by itself, so it has the same amount of hours it had on the other one. So this one has, looks like it has 3 hours on it already, because I did use this the other day. So I'm going to get that oil cooler put on, and then the hood and probably the side panels that I have to make yet, and we'll go from there. So another update, I did get that oil cooler installed, as well as the fan, and of course the side covers are put on and made. This side here just is just goes flat. Little hole for the exhaust in the factory location. And then this side has this big dent that kind of comes out the side. And then there's these wing nuts that take them off. You would probably very rarely even have to take these off. All you got to do is open the hood, put gas in it, and then that's about it. There's not much to really have to do. I am going to pull this off, both side panels off, because I do want to show you the choke cable that I just rigged up, as well as what I did with the oil cooler. So I pulled the one side panel off. It just took like 5 seconds. It wasn't that big of a deal. And then, of course, the choke cable just has this little bracket here off of who knows what that I found. And then that hooks to a hole in that gray bracket. And you do have to break off a little part on the carburetor right here at the tip of my finger. It kind of just creates friction, so this lever doesn't move freely on its own. So if I move the choke up here, it does move it on the engine, and it works. I know someone in the comments of the last video brought up an option where I could have it push instead of pull, and I thought about that, and then I found this bracket here, and then this worked out. So I was actually going to use cable that would probably come backwards here, and then loop around, and then it would push to turn the choke on, and then pull the, shut it off. Because I mean, it moves like there's nothing there. It takes very little force. So I did, of course, get the fan and this cooler installed. It's just kind of sketchily zip tied in place. Of course, I actually thought it was more secure than that, so I'm going to have to add something. It's zip tied to that little bracket over there. I'm going to have to add something over here. Maybe I'll, if the camera will focus, maybe I'll zip tie it to this little coolant line, or this oil line that you see there, just to keep that more secure. I need to do that because that's going to fall off. So far, I haven't had to turn the fan on because it's close enough to the engine where the engine, sucks air through it. But of course, if you turn the key on, and then it does blow quite a bit of air. So it's just an optional thing that you can turn on if you want it, because it does take some power from the engine to turn, as well as a little bit of voltage from the alternator. So I'm going to get these side panels painted. I'm going to paint that at the same time as my John Deere round fender stuff, just to do it all in one go. And I'll come back, put them on, and go from there. So I got the side panels painted and then put back on. I actually think they turned out actually pretty decent. So of course the aftermarket hood, and then of course this is automotive paint with clear coat, the side panels. And then you got the original John Deere green. Of course that is slightly darker than the hood and the side panels I did. But I'm going to have to say the hood and my side panels are basically a complete match. I mean, right here you almost don't even see the difference. So there's these wing nuts that you got to pull off to take the side panels off. Here, I'll show you how you have to open the hood. So I don't have the bracket here, so you just got to lift the hood completely off, which I don't really mind because that just gives you full access to everything. And then, of course, you've got a wing nut here, up here, and then there's two down here you got to pull off, and it's a little bit of work to get it out. But of course, there's really nothing you can't just access from right here. So it'll be pretty rare that, you got to pull one of these off. So that's nice. Of course, the fuel tank's right here. So I don't have a fuel pump that's, to use the tank under the seat, so that's kind of nice. One less thing to go wrong. Of course, you got the oil cooler down there with this 12-volt fan that comes onto the switch. So I'm going to set the hood back on there and then actually take this for a ride. Alright, so time to actually start it up. So it looks like we already got 3.8 hours on it, so that's kind of impressive. Show you a little bit of what it's got. So at idle, I'm going to go to full foot pedal. So we're going full speed forward at idle, up a slight incline. Engage the PTO, let's just turn everything on. Got the fan on, the PTO on. At idle, it doesn't really seem to care. Now there is a slight incline here, a little bit higher than where we were at. Shut all that stuff off. So I'm pretty happy with how it actually turned out. Of course, there's a look of it next to some X series machines. So you got the 425, X475, 27 horsepower Kawasaki gas, X495 repowered with a 22 horse Yanmar diesel, and then X595 with the factory 24 horse diesel that has been turned up by a previous owner to make a little bit more power than what it originally came with, and that has a 120R loader on it, which is for a 1025 with a 54-inch bucket. The bucket is a little big for it, and I guess so is the loader, but I mean, it does work fine. I installed that on there probably 2.5 years ago. Used it a ton. I really like that machine. Now, the funniest thing is with this 425 that I wish I would have found this engine a couple weeks ago before I started this. So if this box doesn't give you a hint already, it started out at $799 and then went to $639, $511, and then I got it for $409. 670 Predator V Twin. I really wish I had this before I started this project on that 425. Oh well, that'll find its way in something. I'm not going to take that 420 out. So anyway, that is going to be it for this video. And more coming soon on either more projects, and you definitely will see more of that 425. So thanks for watching.